Hey loyal royals, and welcome back to my channel. You guys requested, so I got it. Quick acrylic nail tutorial. So first I'm going to start with the nail shaping and cutting. It depends on the customer's nails that they have already. This customer was pretty good, her nails were already short, so I'm just going in with my hand file and shaping and trying to make sure that all of the nails are even. Another quick tip for a great service is to make sure that your customers come in with clean hands. No dirt, no markings, nothing like that. If they are, have them wash them, or you can even spray them down with alcohol or a sanitizer. After I have cut and shaped, I'm going to push back the cuticles and go in with my cuticle bit. This cuticle bit is a bigger rounded circle, so it's going to push back the cuticle as well as push it upward. As you can see on the pinky, it was raised a little bit. And it's going to remove any cuticle that's on the nail surface. I normally do this with all of my customers because it allows me to make sure that I'm cleaning and getting all the cuticles. If the customer has any cuts or nicks in their nails around the cuticle, you do not want to do this because it can make it irritated. Not so cut them because it's rounded, but if it's already cut, you don't want to go over another cut area. So I'm just simply taking this to push back the cuticles. Hers were not too bad, so I didn't have to do too much. And then I'm going to go in with the cuticle clipping. After I have pushed back the cuticles, I'm going to go in with my electric e-file and use my sanding band on the lowest setting possible. I normally use for full sets, even fills, I normally use medium to coarse. Fine is okay, but I feel like the acrylic sticks better when the nail is more rough. Now for this, you don't want to put a lot of pressure. You're simply just removing the shine from the nail plate and getting any dead skin from around the cuticle. You don't have to put force. You don't have to dig or anything like that because you don't want to make any grooves in the nail. You just want to remove shine. The only time I have my e-file pointing downward is when I'm going around the cuticle. Other than that, I keep it flat completely with the belly or center of the sanding band flat against the nail. Once I have dusted and removed any dust from the nail, I'm going in with my cuticle nippers and I'm only going to clip or nip any skin that is visible. A lot of times people dig and they pull and they just go too deep. I only get what is visible. If I don't feel like it's going to hinder me in my work or my customer, I will not worry about clipping it, because I never want to make my customer bleed. I don't want to cause any infections. I don't want to dig or pick or anything like that. So I only get what is needed. Unless the customer asks for more, I don't overdo it, because you can severely hurt your customer if you're not paying attention to what you're doing or if you do it too much. I deal with a lot of nail biters and pickers, so I'm always cleaning cuticles, and none of my customers have an issue with how I do it or the technique. I only get what is visible. Be very careful when you are doing this. After I've cleaned those cuticles, I'm going in and I'm going to size the tips and apply them. Normally when you apply tips, once you get it, you always have it. I'm using my KDS nail glue. It dries very quickly, so you really only need a drop. I put too much, so I just wiped it off a little bit. But you really only need a drop, and then you want to put it on the tip of the nail. You never want to put the nail tip in the middle of the nail. It should go on the very tip of the nail. These tips I'm using are Eden nail tips. If the tip is too small, you always want to go a size bigger. If it is too big but it fits shape wise, because some people have wide nails, you can just shape the tip, the nail tip and the nail. It just depends on the customer and their nail shape. I normally, if the tip is small enough but also a little too big, I'll just shape the sides of the nail tip, and I think you will see that with the thumbnail. But yeah, once you get the hang of it, you won't even have to like second guess or think or take too much time. A lot of times, and this is common sizing for nails, the pinky is sizes 7, 8, or 9, rarely ever 10. The ring and the pointer are normally the same, which is 4 or 5, sometimes a 6. And the middle one is normally a 2 or 3. And the thumb is normally a 0 or a 1. It just depends on the type of tip and how wide the nail beds are. But once you get it, it's so simple and easy. After I've applied all the tips, I'm going to go in and cut the length. She wanted kind of like a medium short, a little more on the shorter side. So when you're cutting, you want to always show 1 or 2 fingers first, and then if they still feel like they're uncomfortable with how long they are, you want to cut a little more. When I cut my tips, I always go longer than what they ask because I can't go back if I cut it too short. And nobody feels like stopping what they have to do to soak off a tip and then have to reapply a tip and resize because you cut it too short in the beginning. But she wanted a tapered square coffin look, so for coffin I do them more narrow. For tapered square, it's just slightly brought in, not so dramatic. But when you are doing your tips, you want to make sure that you are checking the fingers from side to side as well as matching the opposite hand together. Normally I start with the pinkies and cut little by little just to make sure I'm not overcutting too much. And then after I have done that, I'm going to keep going ring, middle, pointer, thumb. Also, so that I never cut the other hand too short, I always cut them dramatically long, just so that when I am sizing them like this, I will never mistakenly cut the other hand too short. Hopefully that made sense. So now I'm going in with my nail clippers and I'm going to cut the tip. Normally for coffin nails I go in a lot more, but for tapered square I just simply cut the bottoms of the tip. She didn't want them too pointed because she has a child, so we just slightly did a tapered square look. After I cut the tip, I'm just going in with my file, and for tapered square, I'm just going to slightly file the sides of the nail. Remember, when you file, you want to pull all the way up from the free edge to the tip, not just the tip of the nail. You want the whole nail to be the same shape. Make sure you're doing the same amount of filing on each side. And for tapered square, you want to slightly bring in at an angle. You don't have to do too much because it's just a tapered square. You could even hand file this, but cutting the tip and then filing is a lot quicker. After I've cut and shaped the nails, I'm going in with my sanding band and I'm just roughening up the top of the tip just so that it allows the acrylic to stick better. After I've dusted, I'm going in with a dehydrator, which is another method so that the nails can last longer. Normally I use young nail swipe, but I ran out, so I just filled it with alcohol. And I'm going to cleanse the nails with my manicure brush and get any dirt or debris or dust from the nail plate. After that, you apply your 2 coats of primer and you apply your acrylic. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit the post notification bell, and don't forget, glitter makes everything better, so keep shining. See you next time.